Hi, I'm Sajin. So I am back with my storytelling streak, and clearly after a long time. So there are about 43 days left to the year, and in case you saw the previous video, so I'm on my 100-day um, streak, which clearly broke, but let's do it nonetheless. So the way I started this was there are about 100 days left to the year, and to be honest, 2024 has been really, really kind to me. And I just wanted to double down on a set of priorities for the rest of the year. Uh, and storytelling was one of them, and that's the whole reason I am telling my narrative and trying to work through this video journaling on that front. Uh, so as I speak, there are about 43 days left to uh, 30th of December, which is when I mark my year end. Uh, Not to say that I was totally off track with my storytelling. I was um, still doing it in some form or the other, maybe via writing or I create a Snapchat journal, which is not to be published, but it's only because I get some free memory on Snapchat. So I create my journal on Snapchat and just record it and keep it in memories. So that's just me being cheap, not paying for cloud storage. But having said that, I think last few weeks got really, really hectic, and I'm happy to while I'm disappointed to confess that I was off track on my storytelling journey, but I'm also happy to state the fact that I did not deviate as such, but there were a set of priorities which really took over. I continued on my journey, but there were certain priorities which really, really got challenging. So in the last few weeks, I faced certain challenges on the work front, and which brought about some learnings which are worth sharing, even though it comes late. Um, so I am a senior product manager at Amazon, and one of the work stream that I got really entangled with really took over almost everything. But I'm happy I was still able to push gears on the BriefBeat front, on the business front, which was another priority, and was still trying to keep some form of the storytelling alive and equilibrium alive. Uh, I first would like to start talking about my journey at Amazon. So, as a senior product manager, I manage lead times, which is essentially the time it takes from the point when Amazon orders something from brands and the time it reaches our warehouses. And one of the very interesting problem solving that I was doing on that front was that how do we essentially calculate the impact or cost structure of how much each day of lapse is going to cost Amazon. And this was critically important because we take massive decisions like how much staff to hire or how many warehouses to build, and how they should be placed. So all these decision making factors take into consideration how long is it going to take for us to get our inventory. And I really feel lucky to be a part of this problem statement, and even though it got really complex and it was not the primary part of what I was supposed to drive this year, but that happens at Amazon. You have your goals, you try to work towards it, but it's such a good dynamic environment that you, by the end of it, you end up doing something quite different from what your goals are. uh, and this actually so while I was dealing with these burning topics, it actually taught me a lot on prioritization as well, and prioritization and delegation, as one can imagine. So at the same time, I think over the last few weeks, one of the key skill set that I learned was really presenting super complicated topics to leadership and getting the right decision out of it. uh and as my manager also puts it, goals are just colors. It's like red, amber, green, however you want to put it. But by the end of it, fundamentally, as a product manager, you should uh, continue to focus on the charter or the product that you have. And in my case, I think it was a good ride over the last few weeks. I'm not gonna just say it's totally settled down, but I think it's one of the best learning that came out of this year. uh, Simplification, and I'm going to talk about it later in the video as well. Secondly, where am I with respect to BriefBeat? So BriefBeat, as a recap, is my AI news summarization model, and it last few weeks was pretty good. I think we sprinted well on getting more traffic, and over last 30 days we got about 500 plus visitors, and this is a lot for, say, a startup which does not have a very SEO optimized website. And we because we know our flaws, and we know where we need to improve. So one problem that we were solving for was for the traffic, but at the same time we were cautious because the news rendering model itself needed a lot of work in terms of getting the right sources, and which I call as curation. So how do you define what are the right sources and you get those news, that news. But at the same time, we also worked on the narrative piece of it, so curation and narration. So once you get the right news, what defines the right summary. So I think we were able to sprint and make progress on these two fronts over the last few weeks. uh, uh, Three rather: traffic, curation, and narration. And I would give due credit to my co-founder, Nish, on working on both the curation and narration piece of things. I would strongly encourage, if you are watching this, and I'm pretty sure most of people are from my friend list only, but do go and check out BriefBeat. I think the model has improved drastically. We have very rich sources now, and the summaries are very helpful. I would admit they are not super latest. There's still 24 to 36 hours lag in whatever is latest in the news and media world, but it is still uh, at least giving the right information, and and the model is picking out the right facts and rendering the same. um, then the third priority was storytelling, which I called content. So like I mentioned, even though I think I was not able to shoot my vlogs, but it was important to continue to press gears on this front as well. And I think I improved a lot in my written storytelling. So I continued to journal, and every day I picked a topic consistently, and tried to write a better and a better story every day. Um, so I do think storytelling while it continued, but at the same time it brought about a learning that you can't hit all the gears, all the cylinders with equal amount of momentum or push every day. So over the next few weeks I'm going to maybe try to push more on the storytelling gear, and do a sprint on this one, and which is one of the thing I want to talk about as a learning as well. uh, so one of the learning that came out of over the last few weeks, so both at the work front and even sprinting across these multiple priorities, was try to simplify uh, as much as possible. As a product manager, I think one of the fallacy that I tend to get into, or as an individual also, not just as a product manager, is to have a very critical thinking and get into complex narratives. But at the same time, I think sprinting through my tasks, sprinting through different topics, simplifying different topics rather made more sense. And as you simplify things, you realize less is more. So there are tasks which could lie in your list for a long time, but they may not hold any relevance. So once, if you've missed it, you've missed it, that's fine. But fretting over it and sticking to those tasks does not make a lot of sense. So I try to sort of take away complexity from not just my work but also through multiple priorities that I was doing. And another learning that came out of the simplification was you can't hit all the gears on every front with equal intensity every day. Rather, I have started doing weekly sprints where I have a clear priority every Sunday that this week, on this particular day, I'm just going to focus on, say, BriefBeat, or on this particular day, I'm just going to get this document out on my work front. And take more time in planning for things, take more time in truly understanding, is this real, is this impactful, have I simplified it enough, and what is the end goal, which I call as rise mechanism. So real, important, simplified, and then, yeah, what is the end goal or final expectation out of that task. Once you're clear on this, I think then doing anything big, you can simplify a lot of things. I'm not saying this is an absolute framework, but this actually helped me get through a lot of tasks over the past few weeks. And uh and then my next priority was to work on, say, a desi dhanda. I think that is one area which took a lot of effort, and there are good results coming out of it. Um, and just as a recap, why I'm doing this is because I do think I'm an OPEX guy, which is operations excellence guy, strategy guy, and that's where my experience has been at Amazon, and somewhere I want to utilize that experience in the real world and see where things go. Uh, I might just fail at it, and but I can't care less. I'm somebody who's openly coming out and talking about, hey, I could not produce this video over the last whatever days, so fine. किसी के प्यो का कर्जा नहीं देना मुझे. So, so yeah. uh, and one of the thing that the fourth priority, which is the business, that taught me was to have confrontational, difficult conversations. um and here I want to talk about myself as an individual as well. So since childhood, being a person with disability, people have always come and told me nice things. uh, you are such a brave boy, you are such a good boy, and you're fighting so well. So as an individual, you tend to get attuned to being nice and consistently getting that feedback. That actually made me a people pleaser, and for the longest time, I think all my friends can vouch for it, I had a very, very tough time saying no. And you can't do business if you don't have the ability to say no, to disagree, to confront, have difficult conversations. uh so I would say one of the biggest learning that came out of the last 3-4 weeks was the ability to have difficult conversations and not be a people pleaser. That does not mean you go around being cocky and being mean to people just for the sake of not being nice, or just because you want to come across as strong headed person. It still takes a lot of guts to be nice, but at the same time, be confrontational and have difficult conversations. I won't delve into the details, but I think may I struggled throughout my life, where I was appeasing people, and somewhere when you truly accept yourself factually, that did I do my best, and am I doing everything that is in my ability to prioritize the things which I think are right. If I have done that, I'm not responsible for anybody else's emotions. And it's that, I don't think that's being cocky. I think that's just being prioritizing the right thing at the right time. So yeah, that was the fourth priority. And the fifth priority was equilibrium, which is, can I live a more balanced life? uh which means, can I prioritize, or can I focus on three things, which is a more balanced body, mind, and my spirituality. On the body front, I think I moved to from a push pull leg split. I moved to two full body workouts in a week, along with uh, a cardio recovery boxing dedicated sessions. I've been doing it for 2 weeks now, and last week was 2 week, the week that just passed away. I think it's a great split, and the way my full body workouts are also structured is, I have three supersets, and across these two full body workouts, and they essentially target the different muscle groups. I see the impact, and that also, because I'm doing full body, I'm doing supersets, so that also allowed me to increase my calories as I'm on this body recomposition diet. So I did notice on my Whoop that I'm burning more calories than the average calories that I would take. So, and being a person with disability, I generally struggle with keeping a lower calorie diet, because for me, my maintenance calorie is 1400, and 1100 is way too less calories for me to consume. So I if so when my calorie spent went up, I was able to work on my diet as well. So in a nutshell, great story on maintaining equilibrium for on the body front. On the mental health front, or mind equilibrium as I would call it, I think one of the practice that really works out very well, or that I've noticed works out well, is visualization. Now, what I visualize is something very private, so I won't get into the details of that. But even though this is my journal, it does not make sense to get into it. But yeah, on the mental health front, I think visualization is a great exercise, and I've been a regular meditator for over a year and a half now. Recently started doing visualization meditations, and the best part about visualization is you can get into that meditation mode very quickly. And even when you are sitting, you are talking to someone, you can still visualize somewhere at the back of your head, and you can be meditative even when you are in a very surrounded kind of setting. The last learning, which was on the spiritual side, which again tied back to my people appeasement, was that uh, how do I put it? No one person is can be compared to God. Basically, God has his own position in my mind, head, body, soul, whatever you want to call it, and no individual is going to become as important as that God. That would mean I'm comparing an absolute with a, a mere mortal, and that is not the right comparison to make. So yeah, if you love someone, you admire someone, whatever, uh, you can go and appease that person, yada yada yada. But at the same time, no no one should be able to take the position of that god uh, in your head. uh Heavy. So yeah, that's where my five priorities are still intact, and happy that 2024 is intense, or has been intense over the last few weeks, months, but it's been very very kind, I would still say. Hopefully you'll see more of these videos in coming weeks. Thank you. Ciao ciao.